Good evening. Welcome to the Other 24. I'm Seymour Guff, and this is what's happening. Reports of domestic terrorism in Canada have people concerned for their safety, with multiple incidents being flagged as hateful and racist by Prime Minister Trudeau. The Prime Minister is quoted as saying, "Canadians were shocked and frankly disgusted by the behavior displayed by some people protesting in our nation's capital." Trudeau, who is on record multiple times as being against hate speech, used words like racists, misogynists, extremists, and terrorists to describe the protesters. Wait, isn't that hate speech? How can you use hate speech to denounce hate speech? This situation sounds critical. Let's go to Scoop, our reporter in the field, to see what's happening.
This is Scoop on the scene of domestic terrorism here on the rail lines in Canada. There is concern for the safety of the trains and rail workers as obstacles have been built and fires have been set in attempts to slow down rail traffic and possibly derail trains by protesters who are protesting against the oil and gas pipelines across their land. Their illegal actions here and across the country threaten to damage Canada's economy and cost billions in lost business. And
Scoop, I'm being told that this wasn't what Trudeau was referring to as domestic terrorism. Trudeau actually responded to these rail line protests saying, and I quote, "I am formally extending my hand in partnership and trust. We will get back to Scoop when he relocates to the place where domestic terrorism is occurring. In the meantime," wait, I am being told now that we have the reporter on site.
Am I on? Well, this is Scoop at the scene of domestic terrorism where about 200 protesters are attacking the statue of Sir John A. Macdonald here in Montreal, protesting for the defunding of police. Protesters say that they see the Macdonald statue as a symbol of racism and colonialism. Police don't seem to be intervening, though. And the protesters have been free to pull down, vandalize, and decapitate the statue. They are all chanting, "Defund the police." No arrests have been reported.
Scoop, for sakes, that's not what Trudeau was referring to either. With respect to that particular incident, Trudeau is quoted as saying, "We are a country of laws, and we are a country that needs to respect those laws." If we need to respect laws, then why didn't the police intervene? And why weren't there any arrests? Okay, hopefully Scoop will find the scene of that disturbing domestic protest Trudeau was referring to. It seems to me that those two reports from Scoop were some good examples of extreme illegal activities that Canadians should be concerned about, right? Finally, we have Scoop on the scene of a protest that has gotten way out of hand. This surely has to be what Trudeau was referring to. Scoop, what have you got for us?
There are protests happening across the USA and Canada in support of the group called Black Lives Matter. In the U.S., BLM protests have resulted in violence, destruction of property, and looting. While here in Canada, BLM Vancouver has stated that Canada needs to defund, dismantle, and abolish policing institutions.
Seriously? That's not it either? What did Trudeau say about Black Lives Matter protests? Here it is. In a recent statement, Trudeau was quoted as saying, "I have attended protests that I agree with in the past, and Black Lives Matter is an excellent example." What? This protest that we can't find must be really bad. I'm starting to get concerned. We need Scoop to find the protest that is threatening our national security and making all Canadians look bad. Scoop, what have you got for us?
I found them! I found them! They are here in Ottawa, in front of the Parliament buildings. They are congregating, linked arm in arm, dancing and singing, "Oh, Canada!" I saw some of them feeding homeless people with the food that's been donated. And they've been clearing away snow from the Terry Fox statue. According to many sources, including Ottawa police data, since the protesters have been here in Ottawa, street crime has fallen sharply in the district around Parliament Hill. There are protesters of all religions and ethnic origins from across the country, both vaxxed and non-vaxxed. There are young people, old people, families with young kids, and they all seem to be very good spirits. And there are children playing road hockey. I can see lots of people waving Canadian flags and shouting, "Freedom for all Canadians!" Trudeau has labeled them a fringe minority with unacceptable views. There have been a few people here with nasty flags, but they've been chased away by the freedom fighters. You know, I really can't understand Trudeau's extreme language with threats of consequences. Although, I am personally a little concerned that one of the protesters may hug me. And as you know, I am not a hugger. Back to you in the studio.
Seriously? That's the protest Trudeau is invoking the Emergencies Act for? Suspending all Canadians' civil liberties? Threatening to seize their personal bank accounts? Because of kids playing road hockey and playing in bouncy castles? There must be something that Trudeau has done that makes some sense. This just in. Trudeau has claimed that the Emergencies Act is to be used because the protesters are damaging the country's economy and supply chains. Really? No one has done more to damage small business and interrupt supply chains in Canada than Justin Trudeau and Ontario Premier Doug Ford, with their tyrannical lockdowns and unscientific mandates. This just in. The Liberal government has labeled the Freedom Truckers as terrorists and has coerced GoFundMe to withhold the $10 million that was raised for the Freedom Convoy by thousands of Canadians across the country supporting a free Canada. So Trudeau supports taking the Freedom Convoy's money away and freezing bank accounts of anyone who opposes the government. He is concerned about that amount of money being given to fellow Canadians who support freedom. What would Trudeau have done with $10 million? I have just been handed more information here. Trudeau awarded Omar Khadr, a convicted terrorist who killed a U.S. soldier, $10 million because he felt Khadr's charter rights were violated. So let me get this straight. Trudeau has no problem violating millions of Canadians' charter rights with his crazy, unscientific vaccine mandates, imposing travel restrictions, and using extreme measures like the Emergencies Act to take away our civil liberties. And his government is denying millions of Canadians the right to donate to freedom fundraisers. But at the same time, Trudeau awards Canadian tax dollars to a known terrorist and convicted murderer? Am I missing something here? Who voted for this lunatic? Hello? Prime Minister? You're going to cancel what? Our funding? We aren't the CBC, CTV, or the Toronto Star. We are funded by Canadians who want to hear the truth, and we don't accept money from the government or big business to promote their propaganda. Why don't you let us report the real news, and you can just go back to planning your next surfing vacation in Tofino for the next Truth and Reconciliation Day. So, that's what's happening. This is Seymour Guff with the other 24, signing off until next time. Keep asking questions and looking for answers. Everyone has 24 hours in their day. Which 24 will you live? What the f***?